watching BET, you know, if you watching, keeping up with the podcasters,
yeah,
YouTube, finding your niche with Neish. What's up, Neish?
I'm so happy to be here. First of all, you to me are like the prince of media.
Yeah,
like I'm equally excited to be sitting across from you. I have a certain reverence for you in your own right for what you've been able to do. So the feeling is mutual.
I respect that, but listen, I just social media and just also texting back and forth with you. I'm just like, yo, niche is the definition of finding your niche and sticking to it and going with it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been fun.
How has and then y'all moderating all how has it or how does it feel finding your niche?
It feels like it's right. It feels like I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Like, I don't know. I found my footing, so to speak, and like what I've been able to do and accomplish. And so, for me, I don't know. It's where I'm supposed to be. So it feels like it. Life is showing up in the different things that are happening and aligning because I'm on the right path, the path that I'm supposed to be on. So I just am very blessed.
Do you think finding your niche is a continuing thing?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You mean my show or like in general?
In general.
Yeah, I do think like you can find your niche, but it can continue to evolve or change. Like Second Chance, which I can't wait for that. But you're still in your vein of like what you're supposed to be doing. But yeah, I do think like at certain times and seasons in your career, it can change and evolve. But definitely, yeah.
And talking about Second Chance, you guys, we'll dig into that later. But what do you know or what have you experienced when it comes to Second Chance?
Wow, God. When I think of Second Chance, the first thing I think of is God. He is like the God of second chance.
Yes. Third,
fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth chance, really. And so I think of Second Chance as an opportunity, not necessarily as I don't look at it in a negative sense. I look at it in a positive sense that you have an opportunity to do better, to be better, and to show up for yourself, and to show up for others who need you. So I look at it as an opportunity, a window of opportunity for you to get it right the second time around.
When I look at your life and your path of from the time I've been introduced to you to now, building the friendship and Neish, I also have a journal that Neish bought me for my birthday, and I write in it every day.
Aww.
Listen, and that's how I got to the point of second chances, you guys. And like you said, second chances is not. When people think about second chance, they always think about something negative or you lost something.
Yeah.
No, second chances can actually be an introduction of gaining. And looking at your life, finding your niche was the introduction of gaining for me. Like I was like, you know what, Neish is in her second chance atmosphere. From poetry to producing.
I don't know. I just love it. You know why? I like media and I got into media because I like mass communication. So I like being able to get one message across to a lot of people at once. And so I think there's something really cool and extraordinary about this particular practice is because you can reach so many people. And I feel like when you have a voice, you're able to have your voice amplified and you're able to get messages across like in a wide spectrum. So I've always just been fascinated with being able to evoke positive change through conversation. So yeah.
Y'all get that? Y'all hear that dictionary? Listen, you could be having the words. I be looking, I be like, okay, words. you better dig them words out. Has there ever been a time that any of your guests you found out that they found their niche in a second chance through having that second chance or something?
Oh, let me think.
Y'all, she has so many. She got to think.
I kind of like, I'm trying to think. They haven't said it verbatim, but they have said that they've dabbled in different things until they actually found the one thing that clicked for them. So I don't know if it was specifically like a second chance. It was more of like, I just kept trying different things until I found one that I really liked, and this is it.
Right. What would you say, how did Neish found her niche?
Oh, God. I found my niche by kind of like what like you said, I started off doing poetry, so I've always been fascinated with words. I've always been fascinated with what words can do to people, for people, and for people. So it started there really, and I've always just known that my dream job is always to be a late night talk show host. So
Yes,
I kind of like
we
had
talked
it
about that.
at the back of my mind since I was a little girl, and I just started making steps to kind of like bringing my future to my present, so that those things can eventually come into fruition. So I found my niche by like seeing like, wow, when I say this, the reactions that I would get from people. And then, you know, translating that into being on camera, same thing, like, oh, I would really cause a reaction from people when I would speak or do anything to that degree, and I felt like this is what it's supposed to be. One thing I always say for people, because they're like, how do you find your niche? What is it? What is it? And I always tell people that the fastest way to find your purpose is to find your burden, right? Figure out what is that thing that bothers you, what is it about society or about a certain system or a certain industry that really just grinds your gears, and that's a good place to start, is to think about, okay, my purpose is going to be underlined with my burden because I'm called and I've been qualified to help change that narrative around.
Tell us about a time where you had a conversation with someone on your show, and because you also with your conversations, she embarked into breakthroughs, like having breakthroughs during your conversations. Like, tell us about a breakthrough that you had while having your guests, and it just was like, wow.
Well, yeah, I've noticed that, like, with a lot of the episodes, I've been having the breakthrough.
Right.
Oh my God, I didn't think of it that way. Right?
Yes.
Yes. So I think one that I just had recently, it hasn't dropped yet, but the guy from Millionaires, he was on the show and he was talking to me. It's kind of a funny breakthrough, but he was talking to me about clout and like how the importance of clout and kind of like giving clout a new identity or perspective towards having it. And so for me, he was basically telling me to put out more content that's like not petty, but like controversial, because to get more clout and stuff.
Right.
So, but it was a good marketing ploy, and I thought like, oh wow, that's interesting. I never thought of being that way. So you might see me start sizzling a little bit of clout stuff in my content.
I think I noticed. Would you say like, would that be like you putting pictures and it's like the song?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like the song, or it's just like basically like putting out content that makes people react, like that makes people have an opinion about something. And so I'm gonna start doing content like that. But I was like, oh my God, yeah, that's such a good idea. Like making people, like, I don't know, not irritating people, but like making people have something to, like,
sparking conversation.
Yeah, it's like
sparking
conversation. So yeah, I'm excited about that. And then I'm trying to think somebody else that I'm like, wow, that was just so good. I can't think of it like right off the top of my head, but there's been a lot of guests that I've gotten a lot of like gems and free game from. So yeah.
Right. Like the exercise dude. That was very good.
Yeah.
And the female that helped women find.
Yes.
That was interesting. I was like, that was really funny.
Yeah, that's a good one. The meditation one with my aunt, that was really good for me, like learning about femininity and like getting more explorative with my sexuality and who I am as a woman. Like I have crossed a lot of barriers with that episode. Mr. 2 Weeks Out, he taught me a lot about just having a hustle mentality and stuff like that. So that's kind of the point of the show, is for people to like maybe pull some of their own practices out from what other people are saying and try to make them applicable to their own life.
Now, when you look at the niche that the world is seeing versus the niche that was, the news, the entertainment news anchor, like what have you seen or what have you noticed in yourself that is just like, okay, yeah. Because me personally, even, reading your story and looking at it, I'm like, that was a second chance, like, yes, you're doing the same thing, you're still producing, creating content, doing videography, but it's like now you're in a different space, and it's like a second chance at media. Yeah,
I feel like, what was the change? Belief. I think believing in myself. Because I do love doing both. I do love like being behind the camera and creating the stories, but then I also sometimes like being the story. And so I'm just like, I'm qualified to be the story now.
Yes.
And so I just kind of changed my mind in that sense. I think like a big mindset shift to seeing that I can do all things. I can be the Jill Trade. I don't have to be the camera girl. I can be, like what you said, the producer, the director, videographer, documentarian, host.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm here for it. So I just started So I just started believing in myself ultimately, and believing in God first, and then that power of belief in who He's called me to be that's just kind of like flowed through me for me to be able to kind of like believe in myself too. And then make them do what you can, and he'll do what you can. And so I've just been doing what I can.
What would you say is your best scripture or your favorite scripture? Do you have one?
Ooh, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12. Because you get like a second chance. Every day is a second chance.
Every day is a second chance.
And you get to renew your mind, and you get to create new thoughts every day. And you have the power to create a new narrative every single day. And so to me, I feel like that's a very powerful tool and a very powerful practice, because every day is literally it's a new day.
Right. Every day
this is a new day, so I can have new thoughts. So to become transformed, to become a different person as a result of how you think is extremely important.
I'm just looking at her like, yo, like,
I love you.
It's really happening.
It's happening.
It's happening.
It's happening.
How do you like? What has been your routine now that you've added on these other things, because you're still a power mom, still have to go home and still be a wife, and we have to talk about pillow talk, but you know, like, like now that you're even incorporating them into your content and really hands on and finding your way, but you already have your niche, but you know, just adding on.
Yeah. I think somebody just asked me this the other day too. They said, literally, it felt like you just decided, and all of a sudden it's like poof, like oh my God, who is this little powerhouse of a woman? Like you literally just said it one day. You just said, I want to be this person, and it's like literally over a couple of months you became it. How did you do that? How did you do that? And I'll say this, and this is something John teaches me a lot about mindset, and this is an insight that we kind of share together. But what happens is how you're able to get to where you want to be really fast is based upon your ability and the intensity that you can accept truths. So I just started being very aggressive about accepting certain truths in my life. And when you accept those truths, it bridges the gap from like getting you to where you want to be. So for example, I just started getting aggressive about certain truths about maybe who I was, or character flaws, or things that I needed to work on. Because they can be good and bad. And I started accepting the truth, like what I just said, I'm qualified. Like I can be the girl on the other side of the camera now too. So I just aggressively started accepting truths, and it literally like shortened the time frame from like the space between where I am and where I want to be.
Right.
So as soon as like you can start aggressively accepting truths, you'll get to where you want to be.
So how did that look? Was it like you writing it down and then reading it? Because some people say, I've had discussions where they say finding their truth and accepting it was one day they just wrote all their truth down, or who they want to be down, and they burnt the paper, and they just was like, all right, every day I'm going to speak these things, pray, and portray. I'm actually living those things.
Yeah, I think I didn't have anything that cathartic, but I did. It's weird. You have to start thinking about what you're thinking about. So you have to like literally become like a third person, like an observer of your thoughts. Like not actually have them, but like notice subconsciously, like, oh, I'm having this thought, or I'm becoming this way, and actually like take a look at it and figure out, why am I doing that? Why am I saying that? Why am I acting like that? Why am I behaving like that? I think for me, it was like that. It was taking honest looks, not just like trying to stay busy. Because for a while, I'm like, I'm just staying busy, like, oh, that people tripping. Like, that's not me. That's them. But then I'm like, when 5 people are telling me the same thing about myself, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's me. I need to figure something out.
Right.
So, but yeah, for me, it was like taking some notes, but it wasn't like a full-on like journal kind of thing. It was more of just like a mental, like every blue moon I would write something down. But yeah, it was more of like taking the mental notes and then being intentional about thinking about these things, like taking the time out to really like process them and think about them, and that helped me to like change.
That you like best? Would it be moderating, being behind the camera, or sitting on the couch with your guests?
Oh my God, I really love them all the same. Let me think. I like this. I like one-on-ones. Really? I like them all, but I definitely like one-on-ones because there's more opportunity for like breakthroughs to take place, because you're only engaging with one person. When you're moderating, it's like having a conversation with 5 people at once. Yeah. And everybody's different. Some people are super long-winded, so it's like at that point, it's more of like a skill. Like it's more of a skill than like I wouldn't say it's not fun, but it's more you have to be on your toes with like strategy and like procedure.
Yeah.
Because you have to be fair. You have to have so much time to moderate, and then everybody wants to shine. Everybody
right.
Like, my story is very important. I have to elaborate. So it's more of like staying on your P's and Q's. But I feel like the couch thing, the one-on-one, is just more organic. So
tell us about a time it was someone having a conversation, you were moderating, and you were trying to move on to the next person, and this person was just talking, and you say, okay, like, how did you, like...
Yeah, one time I was at an event, and they were like, okay, so before the event, they're like, okay, you're going to interview, like, these 4 people, and I'm like, okay, I can handle that. And then literally, maybe like 3 minutes before, he's like, actually, it's going to be 12 people. I said, wait, what? I said, wait, what? And he was like, it's actually going to be 12. I said, you want me to talk to 12 people? He was like, yes. And I was like, okay, because he's like, everybody, I don't know what kind of agreement they set up. But yeah, it started off small and then it got big. So then it was just kind of like, wow. And that was one of the moments where it's like, he has some pretty high profile people on the panel too. So of course those people feel like, as they should in their own right, they feel like I have a lot to say and what I have to say is important. And so it's kind of like, figuring out how to navigate that. So I always try to make sure. In this particular case, I think they only have 1 mic. But now I'm like, I always try to make sure I at least have my own. Yeah. So that I can start chiming in slowly. Like, okay, that's so good. Yeah, right? And so, yeah, that was one story that I can think of where I was just like, oh my God, but I did a really good job. And I, was able to learn. And then you know about this too, because you do a lot of red carpet where it's like, you don't necessarily know who everybody is. You're just learning about them as soon as they're walking up to you.
Yes.
So I had to do that too in real time. I'm like, okay, who's the people? And you're like, I go look at their stuff real quick and try to like,
right.
Oh my God, this is so stressful. But thankfully for news and TV, like having to make changes in real time, it helped to position me for like being able to like pivot and change like that in a moment's notice and then not make too much of a big deal.
Yo, y'all, she's even breaking into fashion
fashion
reporting, the clothes. I was like,
Emma, yes. That opportunity was really cool because I got to come into that and they literally gave me a blank canvas and said, what do you want to do? And I said, I actually want to do something fun. Like, I want to play games and stuff like that.
That was nice.
Yeah, thank you. So I like doing stuff like that. I'm a big game person. So I was like, this is a really cool opportunity to make the show a little bit more fun and exciting. And so they literally let me have free reign on what I wanted to do and provided me in all the ways that they could, and I had a really good time with that. Yeah, so I was like really excited to be in the fashion space. You're the person that, look at the outfit, y'all. First of all, look at the fit.
Yeah.
Something slight.
Is Neish, helping people with their breakthroughs and helping other people understand finding their niche. But she's also now with her husband, 14 years. Listen, 14 years. Y'all, I'm on 1 year, not even 1 year marriage or something, but just, I be like, Lord, Neish, 14 years.
I know, it's crazy.
And now you're now, I wouldn't say embracing your marriage with your media, but, now with the Pillow Talk, you and John, how did that even come about?
So, it's such a long story. So, I don't ever talk about this company that much, but it's a company that we started together called Freed Minds, that's the name of my production company, right. Freed Minds Productions. And the whole caveat is that we're supposed to be bringing out the message that life's breakthroughs are one thought away. So it is also kind of still the foundational verse for that, because it's a motivational business with a Christian backdrop. So a lot of the stuff that we're going to have and talk about are going to be based on scripture. Okay. And so life's breakthroughs are one thought away. So we want to create content and kind of just like distribute information that facilitates that idea. That literally you can be one thought from having a breakthrough. Literally, if you just change your mind about one specific thing, you can experience a total trajectory shift in your life. And so I wanted to start doing that through production, and then I started it off that way, but now we're like, oh, we want to share this message to the world. And so we're trying to create content that helps people to have breakthroughs by having a different thought about relationships.
Listen, well, I'm definitely getting the breakthrough on that. When they go live, I'm like, in the bed, look at this too. Listen, we learning.
Yes, thank you.
What has been, before we go, what has been the most impactful feedback that you've given, that you've received?
I I wouldn't. Well, we're new at it, so like this is a new thing. So I don't know if it's been like we haven't even been able to see true impact. It's just kind of been like little trickles.
Okay.
Excuse me. Like I've had a couple people call me after seeing the release of the show and ask for advice or try to help them get through, you know, different things. And so it's just kind of like, and that's how it starts. Is you're not going to see like an extremely huge impact when you first start, but the impact that you do see is still important to that person. Even if it's not on a large scale, where it's not like we don't have like 30 people coming at us at once, which eventually I know where God's going to take us, and that's going to end up being the goal. But right now we're very appreciative of the people that are coming to us right now in this season.
Neish is ready, and I respect that. Like she's like you. It's like from what, 2 years when I met you at the Christmas.
The vision board plan.
Yes. To now, it's just like. You speak with determination, like, yeah, this is gonna happen, and I'm just patiently waiting because I'm just like, I know it's gonna happen.
Well, thank you. I receive it. It's not me. I've heard from God, so it's like nobody can change my mind.
Speak, Lord.
I've already heard from Him. You can't stop a woman who's heard from God. Period. So.
Period.
I'm just here.
What is next for Finding Your Niche, for Pillow Talk, and how can everyone continue to connect with you and your podcast?
So what's next is I'm working on, I'm going to be trying to pitch it probably early next year. Finding Your Niche with Neish is going to still be that, but I'm also pivoting a little bit and going to start getting into doing like lifestyle reporting with a show that I'm calling Doing Your Niche with Neish. And so I kind of want to start going out and doing activities with different people. I'm going to favor Black businesses, but you know, nobody's excluded, but I'm definitely going to spotlight a lot of Black businesses who are very interesting and doing unique things, and kind of have like a mobile version of my show to where I'm with them inside of their brick and mortar or their space or whatever the case might be, to kind of showcase how that person is actually doing their niche, right? So the show is about how you can find it, and then that show is about how you can like see people doing it. So I'm excited about that, and then me and John will put out more content, and yeah, we'll just keep rocking out.
Hey, and rocking out, you guys. She is rocking out, and I want to say keep rocking.
I don't do this on my show. Yes. I need to level up.
Oh my, you just inspired me.
Oh, likewise.
I'm about to go really look at Johneri'O and say, Johneri'O, listen, you need to get this down. And I challenge y'all out there to look into yourselves, and like Neish said, look into yourself and break down those things and just change. It's that mental, changing that mental, you guys. Absolutely. Listen, second chance with Johneri'O Scott. Our guest, Finding Your Niche with Neish Rogers. It sounds so crazy saying your last name because I'm always Neish. You guys, and Johneri'O Scott. Make sure you guys stay tuned, connect, hit that subscription button, get the podcast rolling and popping.
All of it streaming everywhere on YouTube and Roku.
Oh, Roku! You guys, we are out. Peace.